A pleasant welcome to all my dear 5th standard children. Today we are going to see the second part from your nervous system, right. So, in the second part we are going to learn about what is reflex action, and also we are going to learn the function and care of sense organs, right. So, before that we are going to just recap about the first part. So, in the first part of nervous system you have learned about what is nervous system, right. So, first thing you learnt about what is nervous system. The nervous system is made up of brain, spinal cord and nerves. So, the nervous system controls all the other organs, all the other functions inside our body. Okay. So, this nervous system is made up of brain, spinal cord and nerves. So, also you have also learnt about brain. So, the parts of the brain. So, brain has 3 parts, right, cerebrum, cerebellum and medulla oblongata, right. So, the cerebrum controls all the intellectual activities. It helps us to learn, it helps us to think, it helps us to reason. So, all these activities, it controls your sense organs, right. So, this is about cerebrum in the brain, and after that we discussed about cerebellum, right. So, the cerebellum helps in coordinating the movement of the muscles, and also it maintains the balance of our body, right. And third part, what is the third part of the brain? Medulla oblongata, right. So, the medulla oblongata controls your involuntary actions like our heartbeat, breathing, swallowing, digestion, etc. So, these involuntary actions that cannot be controlled by us or controlled by the medulla oblongata, right. So, after the brain we discussed about the spinal cord. So, what is spinal cord? Spinal cord is a bundle of nerves, right. So, which is starts from the end of the medulla oblongata and extends until the lower back of our vertebral column, and this spinal cord is protected by the vertebral column. Brain is protected by skull, spinal cord is protected by the vertebral column, right. After the spinal cord we discussed about the nerves, right. So, what are nerves? So, nerves are made up of nerve cells, and also we learned the types of the nerves. So, there are 3 types of nerves. So, what are they? Yes, sensory nerves, motor nerves and mixed nerves. Sensory nerves carry the messages from the sense organs to the brain through the spinal cord, and motor nerves carry the messages from the brain through the spinal cord to all the parts of our body like your muscles, organs, everything. And the third type is mixed nerve. Mixed nerves carry messages to and from the brain. It also carries messages to the brain, also it also carries messages from the brain. Okay. So, it does both the functions, right. Yes. So, about these things in the first part we have discussed, right. Yes. So, today we are going to see about the reflex action. So, what is reflex action? Right. So, when you touch your hand in a hot object, or when you pricked your hand with a thorn, right. So, what you will do? You will withdraw the hand immediately, right. So, this action is a automatic, right. So, the automatic action produced in response to an event is called reflex action. Mostly the reflex action is controlled by the spinal cord. So, I already told you in the types of nerves, the sensory nerves takes the messages from the sense organs to the brain through the spinal cord, right. So, once the messages taken from the nerves to the brain, so via the spinal cord, so what happens? The sensory nerves takes the messages to the spinal cord. So, before it goes into the brain, the spinal cord will reply the message, will answer it through the motor nerve, and the motor nerve will do the action, right. So, this is a automatic action where the messages will not reach the brain. Before that the spinal cord will inform the action to do, right. So, these actions are called as reflex action. So, now let us write about, here also you can see when a hammer is hit in your knee, so suddenly your leg will move like this. So these actions are called as reflex actions. So now let us define what is reflex action. So now let us write what is reflex action, because in your 2 mark you will get the question what is reflex action, you have to define what is reflex action, right. So the automatic action, because it is an automatic, right. So immediately the body will react to that response, okay. So the automatic action produced in response to an event. Event means for anything, anything that happens, okay. So the automatic action produced in response to an event is called reflex action. So like this you have to define and write in your 2 marks. Reflex action, okay, and this reflex action is controlled by the spinal cord. So the next one is the reflex action is controlled by the spinal cord. Right. So when a message is sensed by the sense organs, the messages is taken through the sensory nerve, and when it goes via the spinal cord, before it reaches this brain, the spinal cord will reply the action what should be done through the motor nerve, and thereby the motor nerve will send the messages to the sense organs to do the action. So these actions are automatic, and these automatic actions are called as reflex action. Now let us see what are the examples of the reflex action. So blinking of eyes. So this action is a reflex action. So this is an automatic action. When some dust or if something comes near to your eyes, immediately our eyes will blink, right. The same way, if our eye gets dry, immediately our eye will blink. So this blinking of eyes is an example of reflex action, and this blinking of eyes is controlled by the spinal cord, okay. The next example that we are going to see is watering of mouth. So suppose if you see a very delicious and a very tasty food, immediately our mouth will be water, we will secrete some saliva inside our mouth, right. So this is a watering of mouth. So this watering of mouth is also a example of reflex action, and it is controlled by the spinal cord. So these are the examples of the reflex action. So you have learnt about the reflex action. Now we are going to learn about the sense organs. So sense organs are connected outside of the world, and you can see what are the sense organs that we can find in our body is eyes, ears, nose, tongue and skin. So these are the sense organs. So first we are going to discuss about the eye. So eye is a ball like structure, and it helps us to see, and the eyeball is placed safely inside the deep bony socket called inside the skull, right. So this eye is further protected by the eyelashes and eyelids, and the eyelashes and eyelids protect the eye from the dust, right. So and you can see in the front of the eye a circular transparent part which is present. So that is known as cornea, C-O-R-N-E-A, cornea, and behind the cornea you can see a colored part. So this colored part is called as iris, I-R-I-S, right. So iris, and you can see a pupil. The pupil allows the light to enter into the lens, right. So you can see a lens. Once the light passes through the pupil and through the lens, the light falls on the back of the eye. So at the back of the eye you can see a retina, R-E-T-I-N-A. So retina, so once the light falls on the retina we can able to see, and you can see a nerve that is connected from the retina to the brain. So this nerve, this sensory nerve is known as optic nerve. So the optic nerve carry the message, carry the light to your brain, right. So how we have to take care of the eye? So first thing, we should not read under a very bright or very too dim light. So we have to take care of our eye, and if something falls in our eye, we have to wash our eyes, right. And you should not watch television for a long hours, or don't play with your mobile phones or video games for a long hours. And when you watch television, you should have a distance of at least 6 feet. So here you can see, when you watch a television, there should be at least 6 feet distance from yourself and the television, right. So at least 6 feet should be there. And do not watch television, or do not use your mobile phones or video games for long hours. And when you are reading, at least you should have a 12 inches gap between your eye and the book. So keep at least some distance between you and the book, right. And don't read while you travel. So when you travel, don't try to read books. Maybe it can be anywhere, by train or by bus or anywhere. Don't read while you travel. So these are the things that you should take care of the eyes, okay. So do not read under a very too dim light or a very too bright light, okay. So take care of your eyes and regularly wash your eyes with water, right, okay. So next we are going to see about ear. So ear, we can see the ear help us to hear sounds, right. So the ear has 3 parts: outer ear, middle ear and inner ear. So the ear also help us to maintain the balance of our body, right. So inside the ear, from the ear, the nerve endings are connected to the brain. So this nerves are called as, the sensory nerve is called as auditory nerve, right. So the sensory nerve that takes from the eyes to your brain is known as optic nerve, and the sensory nerve that takes the messages from the ear to the brain, that is known as auditory nerve, right. So now how you have to take care of the ear, okay. So you have to clean your ears regularly with dry. You have to keep your ears dry, and do not put any sharp objects to clean inside your ears, right. So keep your ears clean and try to keep your ears dry, okay. So these are the things that you have to take care of the ears. So next thing about nose, right. So you can see, with the help of nose we can able to smell and we can able to breathe. So inside the nose you can see some nerve endings. So these nerve endings are present, so that takes the messages from the nose to the brain. So that's why you can able to smell, you can able to feel the fragrance of the flower, right. So through the nerve endings, and inside the nose you can see some structures that prevents the dust to enter into the nose, right. So how we have to take care of the nose? So you have to keep your nose clean. So try to wash your nose with water and try to keep the nose dry, okay. So regularly don't put any sharp objects or don't put any things inside your nose to clean it, right. So you have to take care of your nose regularly, okay. So next thing, tongue. So you have many taste buds are present inside the tongue. So from the taste buds, the nerve endings goes to your brain. So this how you can able to taste the food. So the tongue help us to taste the food. It can able to identify 4 different tastes: sweet, sour, bitter. Sweet, sour, bitter and salt. So these tastes can be identified by the taste buds. So from the taste buds, the nerve endings is present. So the nerve endings takes the messages to the brain, and that's how you can able to taste the food, right. So you can see here, right. So that you have taste buds on the tongue, and regularly you have to clean your tongue. So with your tongue cleaner you have to clean your tongue regularly. right. So, next we are going to see about skin. So, skin is the outermost layer of our body, and from the skin you can see many nerve endings that arises that goes to your and connected to your brain. So, when with the help of the skin we can able to feel the cold, heat, pain, all these things. So, through our skin we can able to feel, right. So, how we have to take care of the skin? So, regularly you have to take bath. So, every day we have to take bath, we have to wash our skin with soap and water regularly, and wipe once you are very wet, wipe your skin with towel or any clothes. So, do not keep your skin always wet, okay. So, these are the things that you have to take care of the skin. So, almost in this class you have learned, first thing we have learned about the reflex action, right. So, what is reflex action? So, reflex action or the automatic action that is produced in response to an event is called reflex action. Mostly the reflex actions are controlled by the spinal cord. Very good. Spinal cord. So, after that we learned about sense organs. So, what are the sense organs that we learned? So, we learned about eyes, eye, ear, nose, tongue and skin. Okay. So, and also we learned how to take care of these sense organs, right. So, these sense organs nerves are connected to our brain. So, the sense or the nerve that is connected from the eye to the brain is optic nerve, and from ear the nerve that is connected to your brain is auditory nerve, and from your nose olfactory nerve. So, from your tongue you have taste buds, right. So, these are the nerves that are connected from the sense organs to the brain. So, this is how we can able to sense the feelings, we can sense the messages, right. So, hope you have learnt about the second part, so the remaining part of the nervous system. So, after you watch the video, in the below description link you can see a Google Drive link, click that. Once you click that you will get the nervous system chapter, study material, question bank and self assessment. Take the study material and copy in your science subject note. So, once you copy, read from your science subject note. After you are thorough with the lesson, take the self assessment and do the self assessment. So, once you do the self assessment, you will come to know how far you have understood about the nervous system. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.